from Ivica Zubac, and 26 points and 11 assists from James Harden. It was a team effort, and the Clippers take down the Heat here at Intuit Dome. And a big-time performance. They hold Miami after they allowed 35 points in the first quarter to just 63 the rest of the way. The Clippers hold the Heat under 100. It is the 11th time this season the Clippers have held a team under 100 points, which is fourth best in the NBA. Well, for Carlo Jimenez, Big Brother Jake Warner, our engineer here at Intuit Dome, making us sound nice and crispy today. Eli Kleiman, a late call-up as our statistician, and we'll keep him around for Wednesday as well. And the Clippers take on Brooklyn. Daniel West and Adam Oslin back in the studio. We're saying so long from Intuit Dome. Adam Oslin's going to take over and take you the rest of the way. For the 7th time this season, Harden, Norm, and Big Zoo, all with 20 or more, as the Clippers improved to 21-17 with a win over Miami, 109-98 on your Clippers Audio Network.
Well, Clipper Nation gets a welcome distraction, Clippers basketball, and a Clippers victory as they resume the season, and win it into a dome 109-98 over the Miami Heat. Welcome into your post-game show. Coming up, we got second half highlights in your post-game box score. But first, back to Into a Dome with Carlo Jimenez here. Carlo, I love what we saw in the second half, complete domination from this Clippers team, but you mentioned it early on. It was defense to offense from them that turned the tide and changed the ball game.
It really was, Adam. When you think about this team and what they're able to do today, I mean, they turned 16 Miami points into 20 or 16 turnovers, into 27 points. I thought the Clippers did a fantastic job of getting out in transition. When they turned the tides in that third quarter, Adam, they won the fast break game 17-2. I mean, they got out in front of Miami's defense, which, as you had talked about, is a very good defense. They were 6th in defensive rating in the NBA over their last 5 games without Jimmy Butler, and the Clippers were able to beat them down the floor and get easy buckets in transition. And then you flip it to the other end, Adam, and I thought the Clippers defensively did an excellent job tonight. Miami starts the game 7 for 15 from the three-point line. They only hit 6 threes in the next 3 quarters as they miss about 25 of them the rest of the way. The Clippers were closing out the shooters. They did not allow Tyler Hero to get free. Maybe found him a couple too many times on the outside, but you didn't let anybody else beat you today. That's the biggest thing I think the Clippers took away. Yeah, Hero goes for 32, but nobody else really had a breakout game in meaningful minutes for this Miami team. It was impressive tonight to see the Clippers rally in that second half. Ty Lue voted by his colleagues as the best adjuster in the NBA in game, and he makes the ultimate adjustment. The Clippers dominate the second half, 66 points, the 4th most in a second half this season.
And with the way the Clippers were able to play after that first quarter, it leads me to believe that outside of Miami getting really hot, going 7 of 15 to start, it wasn't so much about what the Clippers weren't doing. That was just hot shooting from the Miami Heat that was trying to bury them early on when they led by 7 heading into the second quarter. Then both teams struggled immensely in that second period. But once the shooting kind of regressed and returned to the mean for Miami, the Clippers were able to pull away in this one with James Harden having half of his points in that third quarter.
Harden was excellent in the second half, Adam. I think he finished the game with 21 in the second half. Norman Powell also with 20-plus in the second half. The Clippers were excellent today, able to get Harden involved. I thought also, Adam, he was just more aggressive in the second half, getting downhill, getting to his spots, knocking down threes, taking on his one-on-one matchups. Harden really turned the corner in half number 2 for the Clippers as they were able to find a rhythm in that ball game. The biggest thing for me in this one, Adam, is you distributed the offense very, very well. For the 7th time this season, James Harden, Ivica Zubac, and Norman Powell all score more than 20. We've talked about how Norman Powell has mentioned he wants to be addition by subtraction was the words he used when coming in for Paul George. And I think he's exceeded expectations this season with his play. I mean, his efficiency today, Adam, on the offensive end, this is a guy who was 12 for 17 with 29 points.
Yeah, I felt like James Harden looked about as good as he has since those 8 days off that he had when he missed that game against his old team in the Houston Rockets. This looked to be James Harden more locked in and just playing to his strengths with step back threes, with getting downhill. He had the defense off balance. The passing was there. James Harden ended up with 11 assists to just 4 turnovers. You'll take that every time. And then there's another guy in this ball club that's trying to get into the mix and figure things out right now, and that would be Kawhi Leonard. And we talked about that important stretch right before he was subbed out of the ball game for good when he hit his minutes limit in the third quarter. Kawhi had back-to-back steals. Kawhi was being that octopus on the defensive end. And that's another way we talk about, okay, we're looking to see if he knocks down mid-range shots or if he's short on his three-point shots. But when Kawhi starts to feel good, the timing is there when it comes to getting those steals without fouling. Because remember the first play against Atlanta, his first play this season, he thought he had a steal. Instead, it turned out to be a foul. That can be a timing thing too. And he's starting to time the opposition with the basketball a little bit.
Yeah, he really is. I think his ability to be aggressive and be comfortable being aggressive is a big telltale sign of how he feels in this offense. Kawhi Leonard wants to attack the rim. He wants to get downhill. He wants to shoot the open three, and that's a good sign for this Clipper team. He was deferring at him in those first couple of games. Felt like instead of deferring to his teammates, he was aggressive downhill, and that's what the Clippers need. Ty Lue has talked about, look, at some point this season, the Clippers have to get Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard back if they want to make a deep playoff run. Kawhi taking steps towards being that finals MVP level today with his offensive aggressiveness. And like you talked about, the 2 steals that really changed the tides in this ball game early in the third quarter. Kawhi played all 6 minutes of the third quarter to start, and that's when the Clippers started to turn the page and make that big run to turn what was a deficit into a lead heading into the fourth.
Clippers go on to win over Miami 109-98 over the Miami Heat at Intuit Dome. Clippers improved to 21-17 on the season. They'll be back at the Dome on Wednesday on the front end of a back-to-back. Second game on Thursday is in Portland, but Wednesday night they are taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Tip time for that one is at 7:30. We'll have your pregame show starting at 6:30. Carlo Menace, great call as always. Let's do it again on Wednesday, my friend.
We got to do it again on Wednesday? Let's go.
Let's go. We're going on to second half highlights coming up next. Clippers win over Miami 109-98. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers return to their winning ways. They beat the Miami Heat 109-98 at Intuit Dome and improved to 21-17 on the season. Welcome into your post-game show. I'm Adam Osland. Coming up, we'll have your post-game call-in show on Clippers Talk. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. But right now, let's get to your second half highlights. Clippers trailing by 5 at the midway point. They were down 48-43, but they came out and really established themselves defensively in that third quarter, which led to some easy offense.
Harden straightaway triple. Got it to go. James Harden on target from bonus distance. Harden feeling good. Attacks the paint. Muscles to the rim and finishes with a left-handed layup. Timeout Miami. Harden's got 5 in a row. Harden's got the last 5. He dribbles on the right wing. He stops. He pulls it back. He fires a 3. Bullseye! The Beard from downtown. The Beard sizing up Highsmith. Step back 3. You bet! James Harden with 16. Working on Highsmith with 1 down the left alley. The floater is nothing but the bottom of the net. And that will do it for the third.
from down 5 at the half to up 11 entering the fourth quarter, thanks to 13 points in the period from James Harden. Clippers led 79-68 heading into the fourth, and to close things out, storming Norman Powell.
Nico Batum to throw it in. Finds Norman Powell in front of Eric Spoelstra, who's got his arms crossed. Norm's left wing three, and he puts it in from bonus distance. Norman Powell's got 5 of the 11 Clipper threes, and now up to a team-high 21. Harden over to Norman Powell, the right-handed floater in the paint for 2. Norm's up to 23 on 9 for 13 from the field. Norman Powell not looking to miss as he drives down the right alley and lays it up with the right hand. 27 for Norman Powell.
Norm finished with 11 of his 29 points in the fourth quarter. The Clippers go on to win 109-98 by 11 over the Miami Heat at Intuit Dome. Coming up next, your final box score right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Well, that was a welcome sight, a sight for sore eyes. Clippers basketball and a big W at Intuit Dome over the Miami Heat. 109-98 was your final. I'm Adam Moslin. Coming up, we'll have Clippers talk for you. 866-987-2570. 866-987-2570 is the phone number. You can also get to me at Follow Adam A. Of course, we are live at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side. Clippers ended up shooting 10% better from the field. They shot 48%. The Miami Heat, well, just about 39%, so not quite 10%, but almost there. Miami started off 7 of 15 from 3. Remember that? Well, they finished the game 17 of 52, as they would go 1 for their next 14 after hitting 7 of their first 15, and then the game shooting just 32.7% from distance. Clippers 13 of 36. That's 36% from the outside, and the Clippers beat them at their own game. Miami's one of the best when it comes to taking care of the basketball. They had 16 turnovers. The Clippers turned that into a whopping 27 points. Clippers just 12 turnovers. Miami only turned that into 12 points. Clippers was 60 points in the paint to the Miami Heat only having 28, and the Clippers fast break points 27-14 in favor of them there as well. Clippers win 109-98 by 11 over the Heat. They are now 21-17. Their next game is coming up on Wednesday back at Intuit Dome against the Brooklyn Nets. Tip-off is at 7:30, just like tonight. We'll have your pregame show starting at 6:30. outside of Los Angeles. We are leaving you until then, but coming up next on AM 570 LA Sports, we got Clippers talk. Great to have a little distraction. Great to have some Clippers basketball. And great to have a victory tonight as they win 109-98 over the Miami Heat at Intuit Dome. I'm Adam Moslin. This is Clippers Talk. Coming up, you're going to hear post-game audio from Coach Lou and the players as the Clippers improved to 21-17 on the season, and they're taking on one of the worst teams in the league back at Intuit Dome on Wednesday against the Brooklyn Nets. If you'd like to get on, 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. There's some people in here disagreeing with me. If they want the smoke, call in. Call in. Pull up then. Call into Clippers Talk tonight. I'll help you understand why Chris Dunn is so invaluable to this team, how he can go 1 for 10 out there, 0 of 6 from 3, and still be a plus 10 and win his minutes. Because it turns out, if you're holding the other team down with great defense, even if you struggle with your individual offense, you can still make a huge impact on winning the ball game. Oh, by the way, he also had 8 assists. Seems kind of important to just 2 turnovers. The reason Coach Lou has wanted Chris Dunn out there is to have another ball handler. That was the reasoning behind playing him versus Derek Jones Jr., who will also get starts. It is a rotating situation with those 2 players right now. But Chris Dunn has started all 3 games with Kawhi Leonard back in the starting lineup so far. But I think by the end of the season, Derek Jones Jr. will be in the starting lineup if the Clippers are fully healthy with Kawhi Leonard back to playing 30 to 35 minutes. This Clippers team, though, tonight really flexed their muscles in the second half. And it kind of started earlier in that second quarter for them because the game was a struggle defensively in the first when Miami was hitting everything and playing at a faster pace. Uncharacteristically playing at a much faster pace than we anticipated. No Bam Adebayo, that came out about an hour before tip-off. So they kind of switched their style up. It was all running through Tyler Hero, and he got off to a really good start, and they were knocking down three-pointers. He and Kevin Love. And that first quarter was problematic for the Clippers defense. But a lot of it was just hot shooting from the Miami Heat. There were some open shots, but let me tell you, there were some open shots in the second half that they missed. Just because they're open doesn't mean a team makes each and every one. That's why we have data now where you can see open shots, what teams shoot, wide open shots, what teams shoot. Tyler Hero had 2 3-pointers in the first quarter. Kevin Love hit 3 of them in his 7 minutes. And the Clippers were down by 7, 35 to 28. I didn't hate the way they were playing. I didn't hate the way they were scrambling defensively. I felt like there was a Heat culture shock because Miami typically plays slower. Instead, it looked like they were playing faster, a more wide open game without Bam out there. And they had basically a 5-out lineup. They had multiple guys that could shoot from the outside. And they took advantage of that with the Clippers. What kind of frustrated me was Ivica Zubac. He had 7 points in the first quarter, started 3 of 3, had 7 and 4. And even though, and I know, he ended with 21 and 20, I'm still frustrated with him not getting more opportunities because he was that good tonight. Because Miami without Bam, they don't have the interior defense to hang. And I think there was an easier way to win this game maybe, or at least score in the first half. When to start that second quarter, the Clippers had just 3 points the first 5 minutes of the second. The good news was Miami only had 2. But the Clippers were still down by 5 at the half. Now, as for how Kawhi Leonard looked early on, he missed a 3-pointer to start on the left wing, was short with it. Missed a mid-range shot that kind of swirled in and out on the left elbow. But then had a jumper out of a timeout on the right elbow. And I had said, I bet you they're going ATO to Kawhi Leonard out of this timeout. And surely enough, that's what happened. At Follow Out of May, you can follow me for stuff like that. Then he pulled up, hit another midi with some quickness as he blew by his defender and Terry Rozier to pull up on the far side mid-post for it. Looked good. Went to the bench. That was all in the first quarter at the 4:47 mark. Came back in the second quarter, missed a 3, missed a left elbow jumper, a step back on his defender. It was a nice move. He just couldn't get it to go. Third quarter, missed a 3-pointer. He had a couple of steals, though, that I think helped turn the game in the Clippers' favor. Help gather momentum and really never relinquish it. They were up 62 to 61, I believe, when Kawhi Leonard left the game right at the 6-minute mark of the third quarter. And he had back-to-back steals. Jaime Jaquez was just throwing the basketball away. I don't know if he was trying to do too much tonight. And he's had an off year, a sophomore slump, you could say, after he finished 4th in Rookie of the Year last season for Miami. But he ended up with 5 turnovers. That's the outlier for them getting to 15 turnovers when they only averaged 13. Jaime Jaquez Jr. himself had 5. Trying to do a little bit too much dip on the chip, you could say. Just Kawhi was snatching the ball away from him right before he was subbed out at that 6-minute mark. He did miss a gimme in transition that you don't typically see Kawhi Leonard miss, so there's still some rust there. It's not perfect, but I said I wanted to see him knock down something in the mid-range because he hadn't done that yet through 2 games, and he hit 2, both in the first quarter. So Kawhi ends up with 6 points total, 3 of 9 shooting, 5 boards, 2 steals in 21 minutes, a +2, as the Clippers were just starting to take the lead when he left the ball game. I want to say it was 62-61. Yes, it was. So they led by 1. Kawhi Leonard goes out in the third quarter. But also right before that, James Harden had just scored a couple of threes and a floater. So he had, 8 straight points for them at one point in that third quarter. But Kawhi goes out. Then Norm hits a 3 after a steal by Chris Dunn, who people aren't realizing is that good defensively that he can make up for a night where he goes 1 of 10 from the field. Zoo had some great defense on a Tyler Hero drive. Norm hits another 3-pointer. It's 70-63 Clippers. Then they go small ball to end the quarter with Batum, Amir, DJ, KPJ, and James Harden to end the third quarter. And Harden has this unbelievable long outlet pass to Kevin Porter Jr. over the top of the defense for a layup. Then a steal by DJ puts the Clippers up 8 at 74-66. Harden clamped Tyler Hero on a possession on the left wing where he couldn't drive on him. Then Batum had a block. It was a takeaway. They couldn't capitalize on that. But then Harden had a step back 3 to put the Clippers up 9 with 31 seconds left. Then good defense on Jaime Jaquez. Harden caused a turnover and then gets a floater to end the third quarter. He has 13, half of his 26 points in the third quarter alone. Norm had 11 points in the third. The Clippers went on a 28-9 run at one point, and they led by 11 at 79-68 coming out of the third. They won the fast break points in the third quarter 17-2. The Clippers defense led to offense. Again, this Miami Heat team, they don't turn the ball over much. Tonight they had 15, and the Clippers make it 16, and the Clippers turn that in to 27 points. That is a huge number. And the Clippers only had 12 turnovers. My key to this ball game coming in. You know Miami's probably not going to turn it over much, so you got to be more sound with the basketball so you still win the possession battle. Miami did turn it over more than usual, and the Clippers turned it over less than usual. In fact, you look at the box score, you take away who had more turnovers, you would think, okay, yeah, the Clippers had their usual 16 turnovers, and Miami had their usual 12. But no, Clippers beat them at their own game. So that was good to see. Clippers got up 93 shots, Miami 85. Some of that was because they went to the free throw line. In fact, at one point, Tyler Hero had more free throws attempted than the entire Clippers team. He had 12 in the ball game. You know what? He ended up with more free throws than the entire Clippers team. He had 12 than the Clippers had, or he had 2 more than the Clippers had with 12 free throws attempted. The Clippers as a team attempted just 10. But for the 7th time this season, the Clippers got 20 plus from their big 3. Norman Powell was 29. Ivica Zubac was 21. James Harden was 26. Guess what? That ties their big 3 all having 20 plus points all of last season. What was the big 3 then? James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. They had 7 instances where all 3 of those players last season had 20 plus points. The Clippers now have that same 7 number of times with insert instead of Kawhi. You can say it's Ivica Zubac. Instead of Paul George, you can say addition by subtraction, it's Norman Powell. And the new big 3 with Big Zoo was Zuno, with him and James Harden next to Norman Powell, has already matched last season's 7 times, 7 instances of their big 3 back with Kawhi, PG, and James Harden all going for 20-plus points in a game. It happened 7 times last season. It's already happened with this new big three 7 times this year. That is impressive. The way the Clippers have been able to do this, I couldn't be, I say it all the time, but more proud of this team. They got back to playing much better defense in this game. Outside of hot Miami Heat shooting in the first quarter, the defense was great. I know Miami put up a 30 spot in the fourth, but there was some garbage time at the end where they scored some buckets. But overall, the Clippers' defense was outstanding. And Miami only having 13 points in the second quarter. I know they don't have Bam. They don't have Jimmy. The Clippers have Kawhi on a 20-minute limit and not looking like himself yet, but still positive signs. But I'm just saying, they're not fully up to speed. I'm sure Miami will look better the next time they play them, but part of this was just the Clippers defense being that good, doing what they're supposed to do, what we've been accustomed to seeing this season. Clamp City has returned. So this is a really positive and solid win for this Clippers team after 4 days off. And I know really encouraging, and any joy you can get right now here in Los Angeles, you will take. Breath of fresh air, you could say. Just nice to see basketball, nice to see the Clippers' identity and them getting back to basics and getting a victory. Just a nice distraction. Something else to focus on for a couple hours, right? That's what we're looking for here in Southern California. Before we break, let's go to Ryan in Santa Ana. Ryan, how are you? Oh, I'm hanging in there. So we're all trying to. Appreciate the phone call. What's up?
Super proud of Zoo with his 2020 game. I'm really glad that he's been breaking out this season. Yeah, for some reason, the first half, it's always very difficult. The three-point defense is now, so that always helps out. Our defense is great. Kawhi needs to take a little bit of time. So with the next 2 games, it should be working out. But I'm really proud of our team. I'm really loving it, and they make me happy with all of this going on.
Yeah, I appreciate the phone call, Ryan. It's good to have some joy and take that away from this ball game. I know we all have to get back to reality of what's been happening here in Los Angeles with the wildfires, but why not get a little bit of a break here in watching your Los Angeles Clippers play the right way, get a win, can lift your spirits a little bit. We'll take what we can get right now as the Clippers win 109-98 over the Miami Heat. Something you said there, though, Ryan, just feels like as time goes on, they tighten the vice grip or the clamps. The Clippers defense just starts to set in more and more and make life more difficult. They figure you out as the game goes along. Jeff Van Gundy, that defensive scheme, that aggressive brand of defense by the Clippers. They had a possession where it was KPJ and Batum who both had a block. Was it on Hero in that third quarter? It was just a really spectacular effort. And I thought KPJ got off to a really slow start, started 0 of 5. I was a little bit frustrated with some of the shot selection, but ended up having a good ball game. And defensively, he had a couple of blocks. They only credited him with 1. There was a possession where he and Batum took turns getting blocks. And that's the Clippers brand of basketball. It has to be everyone doing it. Even James Harden had a couple of really good possessions defensively. It's not what he's typically known for. He had 26, 11 assists, just 4 turnovers. Great job taking care of the basketball. But in the second half, he had a great defensive possession against Tyler Hero, who had 32. And he didn't want to go to work against James Harden, who had a different level of focus on the left wing on this particular possession I'm thinking of in the second half. Everybody's got to do it. James has said that much. Like, They can't all go out there and scrap and play like this, and I just don't give any effort on the defensive end. Yeah, it can be spotty at times, but with everything that is asked of him on the offensive end, I'm okay with it. All right, we will take a quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll get to your phone calls. Alan, Mike, Jose, hold on for me. Clippers hold it down for the city, 109-98. They get the victory over the Miami Heat. Clipper Nation, you can take a little bit more out of this one. Just, hey, we got to watch a basketball game tonight. We got to watch the Clippers victory. Love the way they played. It's something. It's something right now during these trying times. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. Clippers win 109-98 over the Miami Heat. Try to take solace in just a Clippers victory right now. Obviously, it has been a difficult week here in Los Angeles, to say the least, and you're looking for any positives. Clipper Nation, you got one tonight. Clippers win by 11 over Miami. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Talk. Coming up, we got post-game audio from Coach Lou, but let's get back to the phones. Alan, calling from, are you still in the swell, Alan, or you just were there earlier at the wall?
It was a lot of fun. Everybody was really nice to each other. Asking everybody how they are. Just to nitpick one thing or just to notice something, it looked like Derrick Jones really hurt his arm there.
His hand.
And he shot his hand, and he shot that last free throw, and he's barely moving that arm. And then Ty Lue had to call a timeout, basically, because he wouldn't come out of the game, it looked like. And that was what that last weird timeout was for.
Yeah, he's a
So I'm
tough
a little
guy.
worried about that.
He ended up going to the locker room. He left the game. We'll give you an update on that if we have it, or we can find one.
And, not to kick him when he's down, but I do want to say he's got a great game, but he's got no arc on his three-point shots, on his long-range shots, and it's a little frustrating to watch.
Well, they look good when you shot 50% from three the first 12 games, right, Alan?
Well, You know,
So they didn't look good then?
You know, you're Mr. Stats. You know, you're ruthless and relentless with defeating every possible complaint I ever have. But
I don't want to be.
I'm
It's
sitting
just
there
staring
watching
me
it.
in the face. How do I not mention how good he shot it early in the season?
Okay, so what happened? Why has he got no arc on his shot? I mean, they're clanking over and over again. It's frustrating to watch.
He is a career 32% three-point shooter. He's currently shooting, or heading into this game, was shooting 35% from three. So just like slightly below league average. He is going through a regression to the mean. That's typically what happens. Somebody starts off hot. Eventually it goes the other way. It's happened to Chris Dunn too. He's also a 32% career three-point shooter. So
I like Chris Dunn's shots. They look like good shots. They're just not going in. I'm sure that
I'm more of a result-driven guy, not just how it looks. If it's aesthetically pleasing but it doesn't go in, it doesn't mean anything more to me, Alan.
But we know that those shots are supposed to have an arc on them, and just physics tells you they go in better with an arc on them. And I'm sure
you know Kawhi sometimes has kind of a line drive three-point shot, yet he's one of the better three-point shooters. I mean, there's been plenty of guys that go against that theory. Yeah.
You know what? If he has the rest, sure. Yeah, I know. Look, dump me over and over again. You know, maybe I'm here just to be the heel for you to win arguments. Like, listen, I'm happy with that role. It's great to hear you. I'm a big fan. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you, Adam.
All right, call in on Wednesday again, Alan. Hopefully both guys shoot a little bit better from three.
Thanks.
All right, Mike in LA. Mike, you're on Clippers Stock with Adam Osman. What's up, Mike?
Well, first, obviously, I think we all needed this game.
Yeah.
This was great. This is much, much needed. But what was the reason why Terrence didn't play? Was he injured? Was he injured, or was it just a coach's decision thing?
We'll hear from Coach Lou on that in a little bit here. Anything else, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, what I guess the previous caller was also saying is, Chris Dunn, he's, slumping, but I think he's still got to keep shooting those. I mean,
yes, he does. All these people are saying, stop shooting them. It's like, oh, you want to play 4-on-5? Is that how you want to play? Like they had to do with Russ at times? If he stops shooting because he's in a slump, a pretty steep one right now, like teams are never going to respect him. Guys, Chris Dunn has to keep shooting those wide open three-pointers or else it gets really problematic. I know he went 0 for 6. I know it doesn't look good right now. He also shot 45% from three the first 12 games of the season. He's not as bad as it's looked lately. He's not as good as it was to start the season. He's not as bad as it looks now. Like, if you don't shoot those, eventually you become a real liability on the offensive end to the point where, yeah, his defense won't be able to make up for his lack of offense.
And he did have 8 assists also, I saw. I mean,
which was great to just 2 turnovers.
Which was great. He had 8 assists to 2 turnovers, yeah, which is a phenomenal ratio. So, I mean, it's good. I mean, he needs to keep shooting them and just shoot his way out of it. I mean, to the extent he can. I don't know what other options there are.
At least he's not turning them down. At least he's not turning them down because that's when it's over. If you're not shooting them, I appreciate the phone call, Mike. That's when it becomes a real issue. The only way is to keep shooting those shots. That's it. You can't do what Terrence Mann had done at times, which is just stop taking them. You got to shoot your way out of this. And I'm not worried about Chris Dunn, turning down shots. I just don't see him as that guy. And he had been a little bit better. The last 13 games heading into this one, he was shooting about 32% from three. It's not great, but it wasn't 0 of 6 either, like it was tonight. Let's hear from Coach Lou post-game after the Clippers were victorious. They won 109-98. We'll get to him here in just a second. I know some of the people in the chat were talking about Chris Dunn, lack of offense. Guys, he leads them, even with his lack of offense, he leads them in the plus-minus. He leads them in plus-minus on the season. They typically win his minutes. Always. All right, here was Coach Lou post-game after the Clippers win 109-98 at Intuit Dome over the Heat.
Run in the third and the fourth quarter there, where the offense finally started clicking for you guys, shots were being made. Was it as simple as the shots were being made, or what did you see it kind of change for you guys in that third?
Yeah, I think a combination of both. Shots being made. I thought James really got going to help us propel us to the win. But I thought we figured out the zone and how we wanted to attack it. We talked about it the last 2 days, and then we got some good shots in that first half, but we still kind of slow and kind of stagnant at getting them. And I thought in that second half, we really did a good job of just locking into how we wanted to execute against that zone, and we was able to really get some good shots, like you said, knock down the shots as well.
We didn't see Terrence play today. I'm wondering what was kind of the thinking with him, and did you have a conversation with him before the game?
Yeah, I had a conversation with him before the game.
What was the thinking and kind of change the rotation a bit?
I just wanted to see something.
And with the 4
So
days
Terrence Mann
off,
could be out of the rotation.
Everything that's going on, how much that contribute to the slow start for you guys, do you think?
It could have had a lot to do with it, but as well as the zone. I thought the zone slowed us down and made us stagnant. We didn't make quick decisions early on in the game, and so we kind of got stagnant. And I thought in the second half we did a much better job of executing against the zone. And supposed to master putting that zone out there and making you stagnant, making you think, second guess. We had some open shots that we didn't take early on, and we just didn't look good in that first half offensively. And then second half we kind of figured it out.
And coach, defensively, they only had 4 turnovers in the first half, but you guys forced about 13 and 14, I believe, the rest of the way. Can you talk about the activity you guys have, showing your hands and getting deflections?
Yeah, I thought in the second half, going small, I thought Obama did a great job for us in that first half. And then second half, we went small to be able to switch their pick and roll so Tyler Hero couldn't get downhill and attack and put the Zoo in a weird situation with Kevin Love. And so we went small, was able to switch, able to get some steals, get out in transition, get some deflections, and it was good for us.
Ty, Chris had a rough shooting night tonight. He's been on a stretch where he's had a rough shooting stretch for the last couple of games. How do you get him out of that, that funk that he's in offensively?
No, just take good shots. When you open, you got, step up and shoot them, be ready to knock them down. And he brings much more to us than, knocking down shots. Him on the floor, being able to guard the best player every single night, the way he competes, it raises our level defensively. And so everything he brings defensively for us, we need every bit of it. And so that's where he's great for us. If he makes shots, he makes shots. But, when you're getting, 1 or 2 shots a quarter, it's kind of hard to, really catch a rhythm. But he'll be fine. We have confidence he can make those shots and take those shots. And so we just got to stay with it.
And late in his first quarter stint, Kawhi had a couple mid-range pull-ups that he made. How do you assess how he was moving tonight? Did he seem like he was moving?
I can't really assess it because there was a lot of zone tonight. Like I said, we really couldn't get into an offensive rhythm. Was able to figure it out. We talked about at halftime. Don't try to get a rhythm, just win the game. And so when they're playing zone, it's going to be sporadic shots. But we'll get a better gauge, going into Wednesday.
Ty, Derek was grabbing at his hand, wrist area before he went back to the locker room. You heard anything on him?
Yeah, he's fine. I think. Okay. He's saying he can go back into the game, so we'll see tomorrow how he feels.
And then with Kawhi, you've been keeping him right around 20. Is there a certain amount of games at 20 he needs to have before that gets bumped up?
I think so.
We're going to jump back. I want to hear that part about Derek Jones Jr.
A lot of zone tonight. Like I said, we really couldn't get into an offensive rhythm. Was able to figure it out. We talked about at halftime. Don't try to get a rhythm, just win the game. And so when they're playing zone, it's going to be sporadic shots. But, we'll get a better gauge, going into Wednesday.
Ty, Derek was grabbing at his hand, wrist area before he went back to the locker room. You heard anything on him?
Yeah, he's fine.
He's fine.
Okay. He's saying he can go back into the game, so, we'll see tomorrow how he feels.
And then with Kawhi, you've been keeping him right around 20. Is there a certain amount of games at 20 he needs to have before that gets bumped up?
Good question.
I think so.
Do you know what that is?
Can't remember.
Okay.
Forgot?
I can't remember.
Ty, another Kawhi question. Y'all, even though the shooting was a real struggle for the whole team, the defense, you wanted to see that be reestablished. That kept you in the game while the offense got it together. How did Kawhi kind of play a role in keeping that defense maintained until the shots came around?
I thought he did a good job In the past, Lane's got a couple deflections, a couple steals, and then I thought he got activated, once we went small and he was guarding Kevin Love and we put Zoo on hot kids. I thought it kind of activated him. He was able to switch more, getting to the ball, pressure the ball with Kevin Love, catch the ball at the top of the key. Like I said, it was a tricky game, just the zone kind of slowed us down and we wasn't able to play at the pace we wanted to play at. So we'll see next game.
Coach, playing against lefties is always tough, especially when you see so many right-handed players. You guys have, 4 guys tonight attacking the basket. Like, how tough do you think it is for, coaches to kind of adjust their game plan when you have these skilled lefties?
I don't think so, but I don't know. I mean, with a right-hand player, you send him weak, to his left hand, and with a left-hand player, you send him strong to his right hand. I mean, it was a big difference. I don't think, but, maybe the numbers say something different. But, for me, just the biggest thing is just understanding, like you said, your coverages, because you used to play against most right-handers, but making sure we, making the right adjustments when we go into a game playing against left-handers. But for our team, I really don't know.
Coach, how did it feel to be out there tonight after everything the team and the city's been through over the past few days?
I mean, it was hard. It was hard just understanding what everyone's going through, the whole city, and just, everyone rallying behind each other, just trying to do what they can to help support friends, families, neighbors, like I've talked about. And it's a tough time, so we're just here to support, try to uplift people, playing basketball, see if we can put smiles on faces, see if we can have people to gather and, watch the game and do something different to try to take their mind off of it. But it's tough times right now. We understand that. And us as a team, an organization, we're trying to do everything we can to help. And, we just got to get through it. Just stay strong and get through it.
That's fun.
Hey, Coach, so y'all went on an 8-0 run with James Harden when it was 62-63 in the third quarter. Was that the turning point of the game, you think, or was more so the defense in the second half that kind of changed the game?
Both. I thought James getting going offensively in that third quarter really helped us out offensively. Hit some step back threes, got to the basket. And then our defense, picked up. I said once we was able to switch 1 through 5, get in the passing lanes, get some steals and deflections, get out in transition, it was good for us. But James' shot making that third quarter was huge for us.
All right, there was Coach Lou postgame. Clippers win 109-98 over the Miami Heat. So some people in here said, "Oh, I know Derek Jones Jr. He's always fine. He always comes up fine with these things. He looks like he's hurt, and then he's fine." Y'all know he's missed games this season, right? With a hamstring injury. Just because he was fine in the past doesn't mean everything's going to be fine this time. Coach Lou thinks he's fine. They'll know tomorrow. I hope he's okay with that left hand injury. I'm well aware that he typically shakes these things off. It's not every time. And hopefully everything's fine with the left hand. Good to hear from Coach Lou. Hashtag LA Strong. Good to see the Clippers play basketball. Good to see the Clippers get a victory. We'll be back after it at Intuit Dome on Wednesday. More on that coming up. More of your phone calls, 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. Some people in the chat saying they can't hear. We don't play the commercials during the break. No sound for the casuals. Clippers win over the Miami Heat 109-98. Kawhi Leonard had 6 points in 21 minutes. He had those 2 jumpers in the first quarter, and then the third quarter had a nice move in transition for a layup around Terry Rozier before leaving at the 6-minute mark. Left the Clippers in control with a 1-point lead at 62-61. I don't think they relinquished it after Kawhi Leonard left the ball game, had a couple steals. I don't think they ever gave it back. That was good to see the Clippers figure out the zone eventually. There was a sequence, I'm trying to think if this was third quarter, where the Clippers had some just impeccable passing. It was, I want to say, Kawhi to Dunn to Zubac. Zook had a lot of assists from Chris Dunn in this one. But I think that was the sequence of just some really beautiful passing. Now, was there enough of that in the first half? No. It took some time to figure things out for the Clippers. But the big three all scored 20-plus points. I'm not including Kawhi there. Ivica Zubac had 21 and 20. And players in NBA history with 20-plus points and 20-plus rebounds and 2-plus blocks and 0 fouls on 60% shooting in a game. Tim Duncan, 11 years ago. Ivica Zubac tonight. Only 2 guys with that stat line. So when I express my displeasure when Ivica Zubac is not getting the basketball enough, and I saw he's 9 for 11 in the game, why isn't he touching it more? Why isn't he getting more involved? Because they couldn't stop him. And I always say there is an easier path to victory, and it's playing through Ivica Zubac. Even in a game like this, I felt like he could get up more than 13 shots. James Harden got 17. Norm Powell got 17. Ivica Zubac was crushing them without Bam. They had nothing for him. So, are there things to work on? Was it a perfect game? No. But we got a basketball game tonight and a Clippers victory. We'll take that with everything going on the last week. Jose and Downey, you're on Clippers Talk with Adam Awesome. What's up, Jose?
Hey, man. Hey, Adam. How you doing? I hope you're doing well, and all the listeners, too. And big shout-out to all first responders, but specifically those fighting them fires. I was there today at the game. I agree with you. Wish that Zoo would have got the ball a little bit more. Even with Bam there. I mean, not that I don't think Bam's a good defender or anything. It's just I think Zoo's slightly bigger than him. He would have got his still. Those 3-point shots that the earlier callers were talking about, I mean, yeah, they have to be taken because if not, they're just gonna stand off of them, and then they're gonna force everybody to go to the middle, and it's gonna be congested in there. They do got to take them. I would like to see a pump fake or two sometimes. When you're not shooting that hot, step in and see if something looks good for you from 17.
Pump faking what? There's nobody in front of him. Chris Dunn is wide open for these shots.
That's true. You know what? But I agree with you. It's not just Chris Dunn, Derek Jones Jr., Kevin Porter Jr. is having a little bit of a slump. I kind of feel like Kevin rushes his shot sometimes, and I wish he would just pick apart that mid range because he does that well. But overall, I'm glad that defense, that energy came up, and you know what? To Wednesday, man. To Wednesday. I hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jose. I appreciate the well wishes out to Clipper Nation, everybody here in Los Angeles, of course. I extend similar sentiments. Everybody is just trying to look for anything positive right now. And Clipper Nation got something tonight. Now, I know some of you are talking about the Terrence Mann conversation. So many of you came in saying, why didn't Terrence Mann play? Why didn't Terrence Mann play? Why do you think he didn't play? because there's a rotations crunch. When they're healthy, there's a rotation crunch. There's a minutes crunch. And Coach Lue was asked about it post-game, said he talked to Terrence Mann, had a conversation with him, and said he wanted to see something. They ended up playing 10 guys. Mo Bamba played tonight. So maybe if Mo Bamba doesn't play, Terrence gets minutes. Doesn't mean it's going to be a lot. I've been telling you guys, I don't think KPJ is the odd man out. I've been telling you, I think it's going to be Terrence Mann. I'm not shocked by this at all. Mann got off to a super slow start this season. He lost his starting job. Then he started to play better and then had the broken left index finger. I don't think it means it's the end of Terrence Mann as a Clipper or he's getting traded tomorrow or anything like that. I think he is an asset and a guy teams will call about, but I expect him to play in one of the next 2 games. I don't know if Coach Lue is going to go to an 11-man rotation. Tonight he played Bamba in the first half, who actually looked good. Mo Bamba looked solid in his 8 minutes. He had 5 and 7 boards. So Coach Lue said, you're trying to see something. But if you think KPJ is coming out of the second unit minutes he's been getting for Terrence Mann, I think it's pretty unlikely. I think it's really unlikely. KPJ offers more on-ball juice, ability to create for himself and others. I think Terrence Mann can do some of the creation for others. We've seen him play point guard. But this is what it is. He has a skill set that is duplicated by multiple players on this Clippers team now. When they brought in DJ, when they brought back Batum, when they brought in Chris Dunn, I said then, guys, Terrence Mann, he's going to be pushed. And he was pushed out of the starting job. So I'm not surprised by this at all. Clippers win 109-98 over the Miami Heat at Intuit Dome. Looking for more post-game audio. Clippers back after it at the Dome on Wednesday against the Brooklyn Nets. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. Clippers win 109-98 over the Heat at Intuit Dome. A encouraging second half from your Los Angeles Clippers. And overall, just nice to watch a basketball game. Great to watch the Clippers get a victory, look like themselves in the second half, hold a team under 100 points. That was Clippers basketball tonight. Let's hear from Kawhi Leonard post-game. Here was Kawhi. This is coming from La Murray, at La Murray, the NU, who joined me pregame. Of course, La Murray of The Athletic. Here was Kawhi Leonard post-game in the locker room.
What have the last couple of days just been like for you, leaving Denver and the last 3 days here in LA?
Last few days, we had practice. What's today? Monday. Yeah, we had practice yesterday. The day before that, they gave us some time to our families to attend to. Like everybody knows, it's been evacuations in LA, so everybody's the ones that are affected, just keeping everyone settled.
That was like for you, Wednesday, obviously. Leaving Denver, what was that like for you? Was everything okay?
Just like I just said, just trying to get the family in order, making sure that everybody is settled, and making sure everyone is safe.
How did you live in that area that's affected by the Palisades fire? How is your house okay? Is everybody, your neighbors, anybody?
As we know, everybody is not okay. You've seen the house is burned down, so self-explanatory.
There was Kawhi Leonard post-game talking about the wildfires. Obviously, didn't play in that game in Denver last Wednesday. Clippers players yesterday at practice were talking about how T-Man straight up said, they didn't want to play that game. Batum was on his phone 3 minutes before tip-off, making sure his wife and kid were okay. Like, it was just a really difficult set of circumstances for the Clippers to have to play a basketball game. I'm not saying, that accounts for everything and them losing that game to Denver, but it's understandable that their minds were elsewhere. And there was Kawhi Leonard talking about it post-game. Clippers end up winning 109-98 by 11 over the Miami Heat. Let's bring in Daniel West for how the West is won, will be won.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take all of them.
They ain't was won yet because we got over half a season
will
left.
Will be won, perhaps.
We need a standings update in the Western Conference.
All righty. So in the lead still with the 32-6 record, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Second, we had second and third playing tonight. Very exciting. Second, Houston Rockets, 26-12. Third, the Grizzlies, 25-15. The Rockets won that tonight. Fourth, holding things down right now. Last team with the home field advantage at the moment, 23-15. Denver Nuggets in the 5 slot. The Mavericks at 22-17. Then it gets very tight. Lakers at 6, 20-16. Clippers just
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Lakers lost tonight. They're 20-17 now.
20-17. Okay, very good. So we need to update this here. So we have the Lakers and Clippers here. I need to update my deal here. Maybe I hit refresh.
Hey, let me tell you, the Clippers jumped them tonight.
Let's go. All right, let's see the update here. Look at that. That's beautiful. All right, yes, there it is. See, look at that. Since we're talking here, I hit refresh here. Let's update this. 6th, the record of 21-17 here, LA Clippers falling to 7th. The LA Lakers 20-17. That's big because that's now the play-in danger zone. 8, the Minnesota Timberwolves, who won tonight, 21-18. 9th, the Sacramento Kings. I believe it's 7-1 under Doug Christie at the helm there.
DC doing his thing.
Look at that. 20-19. And then the last team in, as of right now, in the play-in discussion, the 19-19 Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Clippers in that 6th spot. And they have a game of consequence coming up on Sunday. Still 2 games before then. Cannot overlook anyone. Brooklyn on Wednesday at Intuit Dome. Thursday, as it's a back-to-back, they'll be in Portland taking on the Blazers. But on Sunday will be the first Battle of Los Angeles game this season, January 19th. And that one is at Intuit Dome. So the Clippers take on the Lakers 4 times in about the span of a month and a half because they haven't played each other yet. And the Lakers lost earlier to the San Antonio Spurs badly at home, 126-102. Clippers are victorious as they resume the season with a 109-98 victory over the Miami Heat. I hope Clipper Nation can take a little bit more out of this and just, you got a little bit of a distraction tonight. You got something else to focus on. A break for a second from the unfortunate devastation with the wildfires going on in Los Angeles. Thoughts and prayers, and also if you are able to donate, Red Cross, Salvation Army, there are places to go, obviously. And I'm still praying for our guy, Dime Dropper, who I know a lot of you donated. He has a GoFundMe link. You can find it at Follow Out of May. I have it pinned at the top on my X account. Before we get out of here, I do want to thank the Clippers organization. Ralph Lawler, Brian Seaman, Noah Eagle, Carlo Jimenez, Big Brother Jake Warner, our head engineer, Daniel West, back in Burbank, our producer. Until Wednesday at 6:30 with the pregame show, Clippers and Brooklyn Nets. I'm Adam Moslem. We will talk to you then.
Agreed on a new deal. Boxer Tyson Fury says he's retired at age 36. The finalists to sign Japanese pitcher Roki Sasaki are reportedly the Padres, Dodgers, and Blue Jays. Late games in the NBA were in LA. They resume their schedules after the fires.
One of them won. One of them did not. I'm not trying to hate, but it really helped the Clippers in the standings. Like, I'm not trying to celebrate right now, but my God. Oh, fucking A, Adam, you fucking moron. Sorry, guys. I just realized, yeah, we're still on. Hey, Clippers got a big victory tonight. What can you say? It was big for the Western Conference standings. And I got mad at myself late here. I forgot to switch something on the YouTube side.